Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, whatever works best for you. I don't know where you're at, but I do appreciate you watching nonetheless. Let's take a look here again at Bitcoin, see what's going on. 59,400, trying to make a little push towards this descending trend line. We're going to see that breaks. I get the question a lot too, if you're not familiar with the channel or just maybe you've been watching for a while and you kind of skipped out. Anytime I put an X on the chart, that's just generally speaking a place in which I'm going to consider a long position where we get more confirmation. It always changes, it's always dynamic. For right now though, I would love to be above the point of control at 60,600. Get a solid daily closure there above this more local high and effectively be able to feel confident in taking a long position. Right now it still feels kind of risky. So just throwing it out there, that's kind of what the X is there on the charts in general. And quick little congrats to our community here. Took some nice profits from our ETH long at 25%. We have a near protocol long open as well. And then of course Bitcoin and Aave shorts over the weekend. So again, I'm taking profit here and there. Honestly, it's not like it's super crazy. We're not getting like tons and tons of profit because we're not taking a ton of trades. Just this kind of market doesn't warrant, it's super risky. So in turn, I'm going to take less risk. I'm inherently a risk averse trader. So again, to each their own. So let's take a look here. This is the last 7 days of liquidation for Bitcoin on the left, 30 days on the right. And we can see 63,000 still kind of that breadwinner there. We've got some late longs here, of course, 56,000, 57.5. Keep in mind, these are not longs taken at that level. These are liquidation levels for those longs. So you can summarize that when there's billions of dollars liquidation at 57,400, those are probably some high leverage longs. We've also got low leverage longs at 54K. Kind of just gives us a spread of understanding of roughly where the leverage is at. But at this point here, it's safer to presume 63,000 is more likely to get hit first before 50,000. 50,000 may not even be on the table anymore, okay? Again, set some limit orders just to be safe. I have a pretty large amount of position that I want to buy, 1 or 2 Bitcoin as the price goes down effectively. But when we look at the current price action right now, we can see that there's more liquidation on the upside, and in turn, there might be more incentive for the whales to sweep that level of liquidation and then to drop it after that. Or we may never see it even pull back. It could just shoot up and continue. Either way you look at it, we're going to look at a few other things here to make sure we understand. Yesterday, in summary, Bitcoin was fairly bearish. Keep in mind on the macro, the larger time frames here, we're still honoring our descending type of pattern here, and this generally breaks to the upside. So we're halfway through that progression. We could very well see a retest of the 68 to 69K resistance range and blast straight through that, of course. A lot needs to happen between now and then. We need more volume. While we are seeing some volume, it's starting to dissipate a little bit. Let me explain more about that here in a moment. Let's take a look at the moving averages and just verify is also a point of contention. So to understand it easily, 61 to 64,000, round numbers here, is a solid area of resistance based on moving averages. But as the price continues to maintain this range, we can see the SMAs are starting to taper off. The 20-day SMA is the first trend setter you want to get above to have any confidence. And that's right there at about 62K. So as the price continues to increase, if it does, and we get above that level, we might have some confidence in taking a long position. Between now and then, it generally doesn't seem to be very sensible to do so. Again, I'm holding off on a long for Bitcoin at this point. Yesterday, altcoins were looking pretty good. Now they're not. It's a consistent shift, all right? And you got to kind of get used to that. So yes, whatever I looked at yesterday is pretty much invalidated at this point for the most part, okay? Just based on how the natural progression of trading works. Either way you look at it, we're under 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is increasing, which is showing us some strength. We're getting a little bit more volume. Keep in mind, this is a lag of 14 days. So this is still factoring in this pretty significant decrease in value. But the MACD and stochastic RSI are still kind of swinging up. But again, nothing super substantial, but we're starting to see that shift in momentum occurring. It just hasn't happened yet, okay? So all the more reason to be patient and wait. I know a lot of folks always are struggling with patience and being like, why do I want to wait for confirmation if I can get in right now at a better price point? Well, that's up to you, but we're below a lot of resistance. It doesn't make a ton of sense to trade into that, right? Again, I like to go with the grain. Me personally, I don't like to drive into oncoming traffic. I prefer to go with the flow of traffic. And if you want that for yourself, then your odds of success will go higher. That's generally the concept. So when we look at the 4-hour time frame here, we are getting closer to a potential shift in momentum in the 4-hour, whereas we're getting, we're testing that 50 on the RSI. That kind of reaffirms a resistance range for us. So again, this tends to happen as the price continues lower. You see lower highs and RSI starting to go sideways. it does imply that we're going to see a breakout either up or down soon. Okay, either that level keeps getting tested and it's just like, okay, I've had enough, or the inverse applies and the bulls are like, all right, screw this, we're going all in, and the price shoots up. At this point, though, the MACD isn't super beneficial here, not really telling us we got a significant shift in momentum. Of course, it hasn't, right? The price action's been going sideways for about 24 to 48 hours. So when that happens, you generally want to wait for the price to make a move first and then jump in to that specific direction after specific levels have been taken or swept. At this point here, I would say this descending trend, if you look at the 20-day SMA and the 4-hour, that's generally a good consideration for taking along when you're above it. So if and when the price action does one of these and the SMA is right there, that might be a consideration for long. Okay, again, we'd be breaking the descending trend line, the short-term trend line, letting us know that the bulls have prevailed and they've established higher highs and higher lows. But truth is, I don't want to trade anything until I get above, at the very least, this local high here at 60,200, or more importantly, 60,700, that local point of control. Okay, again, different strategies for different scenarios, but from a swing trader perspective, those are things that are important. Getting above previous candlestick closures is an important factor. And we can see how strong this level held as soon as it was retested for the first time, right? A strong point of control. And again, if you're curious what point of controls are, they're really just an area of volume that everyone's wanting to buy at. And that's why there's a lot of selling pressure there, because there's just an average amount of volume there, and it's considered a good value below, so they're going to continue to sell. So Ichimoku Cloud, if we take a look here, we can see that this is another reason why we want to wait for confirmation. Again, at the very least above, just say 60K, because not only is 60K a psychological support or resistance level, it's also kind of right there, pretty clear as day, this little resistance range for us, okay? So anything between 59.8 and 60,600 to me is kind of a risky trade. But again, you're gonna have more confirmation trading above the cloud, which is right there at about 60K or higher, than you would below it. So my speculation here is to, wait for a confirmation above the cloud. At that point, maybe consider a long position. Okay, because again, we can see the shift in momentum is occurring. It hasn't happened yet. We're still below a lot of resistance. And to me personally, taking a long at 60K for Bitcoin just seems kind of risky. But once more, you're going to have slightly less risk doing that than you would trying to take a long right now. Okay, I hope that's starting to make sense for you. If it isn't, that's okay too, but these are just generally things that I always try to look for myself. And while I'm not a perfect trader, I have a fairly high success rate. And again, it's really just based on simple, normal, basic stuff here. I'm not overcomplicating anything. These are all traditional indicators you can find anywhere, and they've been around for a long time with a good reason. So all that being said, that's kind of where we're at here. I'll go ahead and update our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, so you're kind of familiar with what my thoughts are here. If there's any updates, I'll update our fibs too and kind of post that there. I didn't bother with that. We still got our macro fib levels up here. But if this is the range that we're in so far, then we'd want to pull out some local fibs from the more local high to the more local low and kind of see roughly where we're at. Again, if you do look at that, just generally I'm loosely throwing it up here, that 0.618 fib level, that 0.65, that golden pocket, that will work as a resistance level. That's right there at that point of control, okay? So just know roughly 61,000 will probably provide some resistance for us. All right, folks, thanks again for watching. Hope you learned something. Do me a favor, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. And obviously you want to join us over on our Twitter, Telegram, Discord, whatever the case, it's all there for you. Links down below. We'll see you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.